Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought it'd be really cool just to look at all of the case knives shields. So we're going to be going through and looking at these different shields that Case has put on their knives uh, all the way back into the early years of Case. And talking about those shields, identifying them. You know, a lot of times we get these shields and we don't know what to call them. And so some of them really have specific names, some of them don't. But yeah, we're going to look at that. It's going to be a really fun video, I think, as we look through each one of these shields, not looking at any knives or other than just holding them. But we're not getting any into depth into the knives. It's just about the shields. So if shields are your thing, go ahead and check out the video. All right, welcome back to the Fortified Castle. Hi to all my viewers. Bonjour, privet, guten tag, hola, ciao, and konnichiwa to my foreign viewers. Also, good day, mate. And so, yeah, we're going to be looking at all these different shields. It's going to be a really cool video. You know, what's your favorite shield? What's your favorite shield in Case? I'm going to show you some that you've probably not seen. This is not an all-inclusive. I don't have every Case shield. I have a lot of them though, and I have some that maybe you've not realized that you have or that you've seen before. And so we're going to be talking about the nomenclature of these shields, uh, what some of them called. There's definitely names for some of them, and then there's some that nobody really knows how to call it or what to call it. So I'll let you know what I call it. So let's get into this. And I'm not going to go into this very deep, but I want to go back to the past, to the beginning of Case, and look at some of those shields first. All right, so Boots has decided to join the video. Uh, that's okay, because if you push him off, he's just going to come right back, and you just can't discourage him. So early Case used almost any shield that you're likely to see on a vintage knives. And so all different kinds of shields they used. I have a couple here. This is from the 50s. This is a Case Brother. Why is it different than a normal Case shield? Because this is a shield that Case Brother used, and it's a classic series knife. So yeah, you have a little Federal shield there. And that's what you see a lot on Case's classic series. This is a standard knife, and so they're made to look like in the originals. And you can see there the standard stamping. And so Case used all of these. And Case, this is a Case tested XX, so it dates between the 20s and the 40s. And you can see the normal oval circle Case shield that we are used to seeing. So that shield, which is probably the most common shield that we see, goes a long way back. So you could probably divide this up into three different eras. Early Case knives up to 40. 1970 on to 1990, that 20-year period, there were some different Case shields that came up. And then from 2000 up, and we get a proliferation of shields, different shields that Case is using, since they changed their marketing strategy to a collector type of knife. And so of those in the 70s, this is what you're going to see mostly. This is simply called a Case Circle oval shield. Case used this and the Case oval shield. You can tell the difference. There's a circle around the case. So they're the same kind of thing. It's just one has a circle, one doesn't. Up to 1974, there was no meaning to this. After 74, Case decided to put circles on any genuine bone object. So people had a hard time telling this Delrin, it's so good. Is it bone or is it Delrin? And so they were decided to put this circle around there, or at least to designate it. This is 1950s knife and it has a circle on it. So after 74, that's what that circle means on the case. So you have a Case circle oval shield and a Case oval shield. And that is what's on most of the knives through the 70s to 90s, but there are some other ones too. Next up, and we're kind of following a series here. We're on an oval series right now. So next up is this shield right here. And you can see it's an oval shield with a Case long tail on there. You see it right there. It has a long tail and it's script. So that's cursive writing. We call that script. So this is a Case script oval shield. You can see some double X's there too on it, on this shield. And so there's some variations on this script oval shield that we're going to talk about. The first one is this. And so there's a big difference between this shield and this shield. Besides it's shorter of an oval, it's still an oval, but that's not what we're really talking about. One is script, cursive, and one is not. And so you'll see that variation with this. Some here and there will just be regular font. And so that's what this is right here, but it starts a trend towards another type of shield. And so we don't call this a Case script shield because it's not script. What we call it is a Case long tail. And so this tail you see, I'm looking for a pointer here. Oh, hold on, let's just get a pointer. All right. So this C has a long tail, wraps all the way down, and the letters fit inside of it. That's an old Tang stamp. Case brought it back and has used it some, but they changed it into a shield. And so this is just a Case long tail shield is what I call them. Case long tail shield. Along that same vein is the Case long tail enamel shield. I think the red was the first one that they did. I'm not really sure. But this is just a Case long tail shield with an enamel inside its color. And so nowadays there's all kinds of different colors that you can get. Just as an example, I threw in a black one too so they can see there's different color variations, but it's basically a Case long tail shield with some color thrown in. So I call those as a group long tail enamel Case shields. Again, along that same vein, you have another long tail shield here, and it's a little different. So you can see inside here, it's pretty cool actually. Look inside. And so if you look close, there's all these little chewed up divots inside there. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is this long tail is hollow in here. You see that? It's hollow. So it's a little different than the regular Case long tail shield because it's not hollow. So this is a little subtly different here. And this is the Case Sparks shield. You don't have to mention the long tail. It's just a Case Longtail shield that has a spark to it. And what causes a spark is these little ground up inside of there. That's what causes a spark. Now, this has become really popular and famous because of their Spark series, where they have, I think initially they colored them in white, but they come in other colors now. And as you can see, this is on an old knife. So I think this is a 90s. Right there, it's an 80s. So this is an 88. And you can see how far back they use that spark shield. It was about 40 years ago now, but they really brought it back in a big way by putting some enamel in there and maybe something else. I'm not really sure, but some of them, sparkle, which is why they call them spark shields. I think it's just because they chewed up the inside of that. Another oval shield variation, and this is still on the Case Longtail shield. All of these are based on the long-tailed shield, but you have the Case Longtail American shield. And this is a kind of like a colored shield right there, but you get some more stuff in here. And so if you look at this shield, you see the lines that are put into the shield to create the flag and the stars. And this is one of my favorite shields. I just love this shield. It really looks good on certain colors, and I don't know that I would love it like on this wood right here. I probably wouldn't love it, but if you put it in the right colors, it looks really good. Okay, and let's see. So this is a really unusual shield. It's based on Case's 1970 tank stamp, the Case XX USA. On that tank stamp, they would just add dots, and that's what it's kind of based on. It's a wider oval. You can tell the difference between these right here. And it's brass instead of nickel silver. So, obviously that's a nickel silver, hopefully. And it's brass, like many of the longtail enamel shields are brass. But this is brass with a little bit of dark in there. And these don't come like jet black. They always look kind of like charcoal, so almost like they're burnt. I'm not sure what Case puts in there, but I call this a Case antique shield, and it just reminds me of an antique type of shield that you would find on a knife. And Case tends to put it on knives that look older, not newer or fancy, that have kind of an older time flair to them. And so I just call it a Case antique shield. But I guess some guys might call that the Case USA shield or Case XX USA. I don't know. I can't recall anybody addressing this shield. But I like it. I like this antique shield. I have a couple of them. And then finally, that to finish up on the oval shields, you have this right here, Case's Collector Shield. This has been around since 1980 when they started the Collector Club. And you have a Case Longtail on an oval with Collector at the top and Club at the bottom. Nice looking shield. I have a number of these because I have a number of these knives. They're great knives. They tend to be better. I can't tell you that for 100%, but they tend to be better knives than your average Case knife. So that's going to bring us up to a variety of different shields. Remember I said at the beginning of this, I don't have every shield, and who does? I don't know. But most people call this the Case Chevy shield. The way I understand it is, Case entered into a partnership with Ford. You'll see the Ford knives that Case has, but Chevy never authorized that, never would go down that route. And so they don't have Chevy on here or on their knives, but they do have a shield that looks like that Chevy emblem on there, and that's why this is called the Case Chevy shield. You can see that up close, little star there. Nice looking shield. I like this shield. Next up is the what a lot of people call a tooth shield. So I'm okay with that. If you want to call this a tooth shield, fine. It looks kind of like a fang, but really it's an arrow shield. And I'll show you why it's really an arrow shield. If you look at this close, oops, lost my pointer. If you look at this close, you see this indentation here. And this is what arrowheads kind of look like. And so most arrowheads had this indentation in here so that they could be put into a piece of wood to be used either as a spear or an arrow. And the ends came down like this to give it a lot of area to bind to. And so I really think that's an arrow. I call this the Case arrow shield, but like I said, a lot of people call this a tooth. It doesn't really matter, I reckon. It's one of the two. Next up, another of my favorite shields. This is a medallion shield. So round shields are called medallion shields. And this is just simply Case XX. I call this Case XX shield, which is why I don't call this a Case XX shield. I think you can call it an antique shield or you can call it a Case USA. But this is really the Case XX shield right here. It just has XX. It's a medallion. And that's that one. Here's another one that was probably used a long time ago. The diamond shield. Case did use some of these diamond shields with nothing on them, but this has XX on it. And I like this shield too. Next up is the double bomb shield. And so, a bomb shield looked like this, but it started out and didn't look like a bomb. That's why they called them bomb shields. They started making a little double doohickey thing here, and they called them double bombs. Now, some guys are calling this the squirrel shield. I think RJ popularized that squirrel shield, and Baxter Blades kind of adopted that, or maybe he started it. I don't know. I think it started with RJ, but it does on a well-made double bomb shield. It does kind of look like a flying squirrel. The tail is smaller, but the tail is so big here, it doesn't really look like a squirrel to me. And so actually that's the double bomb shield. Whew, sorry about that. Next up is the propeller shield. This is a shield a lot of people get confused about, but and this is a poor example. I actually think Case has some really better ones. I just don't have an example of it. But you have a round, see how it's round in the center there, and then two blades come off on either side. These were known in the old days as propeller shields. And I'm pretty sure I've seen one that's bigger and looks more like a propeller shield. But you see they put their XX in there. But it's a propeller shield. That's what they call those. Here's one that's really unique. And I didn't even notice it until I started to do this video. But if you look at this, it's kind of a scroll type of shield. It's round in the center there like a propeller shield. I wouldn't call this a propeller shield. And then you have kind of like the form of a federal shield on each side. It's really different. I didn't notice it until I started this video, but it is a pretty cool shield. Do you have one like this? Do you have one in your collection? It's kind of unusual. Next up is this one. This is a GIMP shield. I will call it a GIMP shield. In the old days, that's what they called these. The only difference is case is punched case into here. Usually a GIMP shield is just a piece of metal right there. Again, guys call this a hot dog shield. And, you know, it looks like a hot dog. So I don't have any problem with you calling it a hot dog shield. But that is Case's GIMP shield. In the old days, they used GIMP shields without anything on it. It was just a regular GIMP shield. And here's some medallion. Remember I said this is a medallion right here. These are shields. This is a NKC shield. So there are some NKCA knives that have a Case logo over here, but most of them only have this. They wanted to have their own thing, and so you don't see any Case stuff on the outside of this knife, and of course on the inside you're gonna see it. But this is a medallion shield, and it gets into an area where you know, Case has done a lot of contract knives, and so you'll see different kind of shields, you know, for those contracts where the person ordering the knife didn't want anything else on the knife. Here's another medallion shield with the Tractor Supply logo, and Case snuck in their Case on the barn there to try to market their name. But that's a pretty cool shield too. I like it. It's beautiful. Isn't the olive on this just stunning? I just love the coloring on this knife. Always have. Didn't hesitate. Pulled the trigger right away when I bought that. This is an unusual shield. I noticed it. I got this knife about a month ago. What is this knife? I think it's a 99. Yeah, it's a 99 knife, and it has this shield, and the shield is shaped like a barrel. So I've never seen that on any other Case knife. I call that Case barrel shield. That's what I call it. But some of the things you really don't notice until you start looking at a knife. Definitely a different shield. And finally, we have this. I call it a manta ray shield, but most people, almost everybody, call this the coat of arms shield. And I didn't buy that until I actually started looking down inside there. And then I said, okay, that kind of looks like a coat of arms. So this is Case's coat of arms shield. Or if you want to be really cool, like Rasputin's castle, you can call it a manta ray shield. And that sums up the shields for Case knives. Like I said in the past, they used almost any kind of shield that any other knife maker would have used. But past 2000, there's a lot of different shields here. One of the really cool things about Case knives, some guys only collect shields, like they're shield collectors. They're buying knives not for the knife because they like this particular pattern, but for the shield because they dig it. So that's another avenue of knife collecting. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. I really appreciate all your likes, shares, and comments, and we'll see you in the next video.